This is When You Were Everything, chapter Lunchtime Blues, pages 151 to 157. And it's a now. The previous chapters were flashbacks. Lunchtime Blues. Another way Layla's absence had destroyed me. I no longer know where I fit in the minefield that is our high school's cafeteria. Haven't since she started sitting with the chorus girls more and more back in November. Lunch used to be solace or peaceful for me. Now it's torture. For the last month or so, lunch has gone the same way. When I get to the cafeteria, I'll open up Othello or whatever book I have with me, eat, and awkwardly people watch. I'll always see Jace and Mace walk by. They'll go to sit with the chorus girls because Mason always sits with Layla now. It makes me wonder how things are going with the two of them. The not knowing hurts more than it should by now. Jace's bag lunch will still be in his backpack when they pass me by. Some delicious mix of ginger chicken and rice or a beefy Chinese stew. He'll drum his fingers across my table and Mace will lift his head to acknowledge me. Hi, bye, I'll say, a little embarrassed by how badly I wish they'd sit down and eat with me. I'll try not to think about how Jace used to share his lunch with me and whisper the Mandarin names of the foods into my ear whenever I asked, or the stories he'd tell me about the kids who made fun of his lunches when he was little. I wish there were a way to shift my thoughts permanently out of the past. But today, when I walk into the caf, there are two people already waiting at my table. Sydney is leaning across her lunch tray saying something to Dom that's making him laugh. I feel instantly hot thinking about hanging out on his roof, how I wore a sweatshirt of his, and how I'd recognize the scent of him anywhere. But I try to shake myself out of it. At least I don't have to eat alone today. I smile as I approach the table. Hey, I say, happy and confused all at once, but not wanting to question their presence. Dude, Sydney says as soon as I sit down. I open my bag and pull out my food. I heard you're cheating on us. I frown and look up. What? She does her white girl hair flip thing, and her curls cascade or fall down one side of her head like weeping willow branches. She's wearing complicated-looking earrings today that are made up of metal rods and circles. They glint and swing as she moves her head. You're going to tutor someone else, right? Because you skipped school. How on earth do you know that? I asked her. But she just clasps her hands together and tucks them under her chin. Oh, I know people. So who is it? Dom asks next. I saw you in Novak's hot seat the other day, and I forgot to ask you about it last night. I knew something was going down. I look down at my lunch tray. It's Layla, I say, and I'm not cheating on you just because you guys were the last people I tutored. Sydney responds by pulling out her Macbeth paper, and it's clearly a revision. This is the version I turned in to Novak, and she stopped me on my way to lunch and told me she'd read my introductory paragraph, and she found it fascinating. She said she was looking forward to seeing how my argument came together. Sydney raises her eyebrows. Dom nods, agreeing. What we talked about really helped me pull mine together last night, too, he says. His dark eyes are aimed straight at mine, and for a second, I'm back up on that roof with him, talking about fate and lies and stars. But then I remember how Novak said he didn't need a tutor. Why'd you even ask me for help? I finally ask Dom. Did you know he's second in our class? I say to Sydney. Second! Right. And you were first, Dom says, which means you were literally the only person I could go to for help other than Novak. And you're, how can I put this? More my type, he smirks. I press my lips together and look away because I can't believe how overtly he's flirting with me right in front of Sydney. I turn to her because I can't look at Dom. This thing with Layla is different, though, I start to explain. We used to be friends, but she's kind of mean to me now. I chance a glance in the direction of her table. and she isn't looking at my way. I shouldn't be surprised. I basically don't exist to her anymore. Oh, that's nothing, Sydney says. See them? She points across the cafeteria to a table where Willa Bay is twirling a piece of Lark Dixon's long blonde hair. Yeah? I say. You see how she's like all over Lark. Dom kind of laughs, and I say, yeah, Sid, it's not really surprising. Willa is the biggest player at our school. In addition to having dated or kissed just about every queer and questioning girl at Chisholm, she's straight up stolen a few guys' girlfriends. Still, she's almost universally loved, probably because she's the president of the GSA, captain of the softball team, and drop-dead gorgeous. Her black hair is short, but the cut is so haphazard that it looks a little like the start of some kind of dark fire, and her nose is pierced, though her ears aren't. You'd expect someone like Willa Bay to hang out with the cool Asian kid clique, but she's a bit of a free agent. She starts to touch Lark's hands and forearms next, slipping one of the nearly a dozen bangles off her wrist and onto Lark's. Lark giggles. Sydney clears her throat, so I look back over at her. Right. Well, me and Willa have known each other forever, but in middle school we got really close. She'd come over a lot and keep me company because my dad worked all these late hours at the restaurant. She liked to bake and said it was a travesty or shame that we had this amazing kitchen that my dad never actually used. I nod, remembering. When I was tutoring Sydney last semester, sometimes I'd come to her apartment and Willa would be there. I hadn't noticed, but now that I think about it, Sydney's definitely been hanging out with her less. Your dad works at a restaurant? Dom asks, and Sydney says, yep, he's a chef. It sucks. Really? I kind of think I want to be a chef, Dom insists. Sydney scoffs. You're too nice. Don't do it. It would ruin you. Believe me. But wait, what happened? I ask Sydney, trying to get back to the subject at hand. Between you and Willa, I mean. I'll tell you later, she says, but she tilts her chin in Dom's direction, and it's clear she doesn't want him to know. Dom feigns shock and insult. But Sydney just sips her chocolate milk and stays silent. After a few seconds, I say as gently as I can, so I kind of want to know. Do you mind? To Dom. I can't believe I'm asking someone to leave this table when, for the last month, I would have died for the company. You're serious? Dom asks, and I look at Sydney. Why does no one take me seriously? Sydney wonders aloud. Is it because I have perfectly conditioned hair and I'm the president of the fashion club? Is it because people assume girls who like makeup and cute clothes are doing it for the male gaze, so it's strange that I don't always want dudes around? Dom clenches his teeth awkwardly, and I stretch my eyes wide. I think she's serious, I whisper. Dang, Dom says. But he collects his stuff and stands to leave. Sydney blows him a kiss, and he rolls his eyes. Love ya, mean it, Sydney calls as he walks away, and I cover my mouth so he doesn't hear me laughing at his dismissal. So, I say, turning to her, what really went down with Willa? Sydney sips her chocolate milk again before she speaks. We kissed, she says simply, and I wait for her to say more. Willa's been out since middle school, and she's been a huge flirt since then, too. And for the last couple of years, I was there for all of her epic crushes and kisses and breakups. I have force-fed her ice cream so many times while she cried over all those girls, you know? Because as much as she puts herself out there, she still gets hurt all the time. I nod. I don't know what it would like to be that brave when it comes to love. It sounds terrifying. Sydney tucks some curls behind her ears and looks across the cafeteria again. But when we kissed, and I, felt something, I didn't know what to do. I knew that I loved her as a friend, but after that, I started falling for her for real. And with all the girls she hooked up with or dated or whatever, I never judged her for it. It was kind of what made us work. But after that kiss, it started to feel personal. She kissed me, and we didn't even really talk about it. And by the next week, she was talking about kissing someone else. I pick at the edge of my sandwich. I rip off a piece of crust just for something to do. What happened with me and Layla is really different from what happened with Sydney and Willa. But we both know the pain of feeling like we don't matter to the person we love most. To these people who are supposed to be our everything. So I got mad one day when she was telling me about some new girl and basically called her a tease. Anyway, we had this huge fight right before winter break, and we haven't really talked since then. Wow, I say. That's really awful. I want to ask her if she still has feelings for Willa, but I don't know if I'm allowed. What she told me already was a lot to share, so I don't want to push for more. Do you miss her? I say instead. Yeah, I do, but I don't know how to make it right. I open my juice and take a deep pull, and the table is quiet for a few minutes. I miss Layla too, and part of me has given up a little on the possibility of fixing things. So I've been trying to make new memories, I say slowly. Huh? She asks. Like, there are all these places that remind me of Layla, and I don't want to think of her every time I go to certain stores or hear certain songs or walk past Washington Square Park, you know? Oh yeah, totally, Sydney concedes. So I've been going to different spots around the city and purposefully making new memories there. I tell her, my dad thinks it's not going to work, and my mom thinks I should be honest with Layla, apologize, and see what happens next. I have to tutor her tonight, and I have no idea what to do. My phone vibrates. It's a text from Layla. Sydney leans her chin on the heel of her palm, looking down at my phone. Well, looks like you're going to have to decide soon. She grabs her tray and stands up to go. Her earrings clink and ring like bells. If you figure it out, let me know, will you?